Coffee Monday is more than a podcast. It's a movement to reshape the way we approach Mondays and the week ahead. It's about embracing the reality that work doesn't have to dominate our lives. It's about finding that sweet spot where passion, purpose, and a cup of motivation connect. Filmed and recorded in California's Central Valley, join me, your host, Ray Pardini-Matson, as I invite thriving professionals to share their stories of how they're crafting a life that's both vibrant and balanced. Grant is not only a longtime friend of mine, he's an award-winning filmmaker, actor, and singer whose latest documentary, Meet Me Where I Am, explores the nuanced and often unspoken realities of grief. The film, resonating with audiences across the country, was honored with the Audience Award at Dances with Films. Beyond Grant Garry's work behind the camera, he continues the conversation around healing and connection on the Where I Am podcast, where he holds space for raw, real conversations about grief, hope, and the human experience. Whether he's performing on stage, directing heartfelt documentaries, or holding meaningful interviews, Grant's work invites us all to show up more compassionately for ourselves and for others. So grab your coffee, settle in. We're going to talk about storytelling, vulnerability, and how we can all meet each other and ourselves right where we are.
So how are you doing?
Great. I don't even know what day it is, Grant. I don't even know what time it is.
I thought it was Thursday.
I mean, I'm kind of glad it's not. Thursday's a tease.
It's Friday, right? Yeah. It's Friday.
No, good. Okay, so we go way back. I mean,
Yeah.
high school. Maybe, no, I feel like we knew each other before high school.
No, we knew each other before.
Our families, we grew up together. You went to school with Jay in high school.
Yeah.
And we all hung out.
We did. So you guys call him Jay or JW.
Yes.
I always just called him John. Usually.
I know, you're right. Yeah, a lot of you guys did.
And John and I had such an interesting relationship because it was he was friends with the cool people. And I wasn't necessarily cool, but I wasn't not cool. I was kind of in the middle. But he always I always felt cool that he accepted me as a friend.
You guys were you were buds. Yeah.
And our friendship was always after school.
Well, it was you guys both love cars. I remember this. My memory is not great. Mom brain is a real thing. I wish I kept more journals. I wish I was better about remembering things.
Keep them now.
Right?
I always write down something, not to remember it later, but so I can remember it now.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I need to do that. Do you physically write it or just type it on the phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's studies show
they are. If you
that
there's actual
pen to paper.
I agree. Why do you think I have this? They're remarkable. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
Anyway, I remember you guys loved cars.
Still
I remember
love cars.
Right?
Yeah.
And you would bond over that.
We always bonded over that. Mm-hmm. He was so into cars.
Loved cars.
And we always, we would just drive. That was what was fun to do. Mm-hmm. Back before gas prices were so, no, but we would just drive around.
Yeah.
And maybe we'd go to a friend's house or maybe,
or not.
We weren't going anywhere. We would just drive around. And sometimes we'd take my dad's car out or something.
I remember,
or we'd take your parents' car out. Or your mom's Yukon or whatever.
I was gonna say the Suburban. That's a real thrill.
Yeah. But one day we were at your house after school, I remember, and it was hot because it's Fresno and we were gonna go swimming. And I was like, oh, I don't have any trunks or anything. And he was like, oh, just go in your shorts, my school short. We wore uniforms.
Yes.
At San Joaquin Memorial High School. And so I went in those and I was like, oh, my mom's going to get mad now that I got them wet. My uniform shorts got wet. So John gave me, and I brought them with me.
Shut up.
I know.
You're lying. What do you have in your bag of tricks?
I told you, I'm like a prop comic. Pulling a rubber chicken. Till this day.
Yes. I'm dead, Grant. Are you serious?
Where is it? It says it on
Are these your...
These are the
Memorial PE shorts.
San Joaquin Memorial PE shorts. But I want you to open up and look in the elastic
Are
band.
you going to make me cry? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Can you believe that? After all these years,
Wow.
I still had them.
Oh my God. That's wild.
He gave them to me when
My mom's handwriting.
Yeah, of course it
It's
is.
John Pardini. Oh my gosh, I'm dead. This is, wow. Grant, I love that you still have these. This is hilarious.
Isn't that fun?
Do you
Oh yeah,
wear them?
wear them all the time.
They look very comfortable.
Yeah, wear them every
So
night.
he gave you his PE shorts to wear in the pool, like to swim.
I must have, yeah, and I must have just like
Oh
kept
my
them on the
God,
rest of the
that's
day, or maybe he
sweet.
gave me those after we. It was something like that because I
Yeah.
went home with them.
Yes, clearly.
And back
And
then,
you're like, yeah, I'm not returning these.
and
I'm
back
keeping
then,
them.
when you borrow something from someone, you like steal it for life. So
So true.
so
Grant, that's really special.
can you believe that?
I
though?
love
I
I,
was just
love that you still have those. Isn't that funny how you have certain pieces? Obviously that's a memory too,
Yeah.
but like certain pieces of clothing where it's like, yeah, that's my fave. I'm keeping it.
yeah.
High school,
It's
college, 20s, 30s, here we are.
Do you want them? That's weird, right?
That's a little weird.
It's cooler if I keep
I actually love that we're going to do that. We're going to say you're going to steal these.
them. I'm gonna borrow steal.
Grant, that's
funny?
really sweet.
How are you doing?
You know, good. It's funny. It's like
And when I
I
asked
moved
that,
home. Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, I moved home the day he passed away.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in LA. I was working at Sony. I loved my job. I loved my life there. I honestly never thought I'd be back in Fresno ever.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I got the call that you'll never forget. And let's see, Ray, do the math. 14 years later, 13 years later.
It was 20.
It was 2011. Yeah. So still feels fresh in a lot of ways. Like, we'll get into grief is a rocky road.
Yeah.
But yeah, I came home that day and I never went back. I mean, I went back to get my stuff.
Yeah.
But like,
Wow.
yeah.
You were in school at the time.
I
right?
no,
Or
I was like
oh, you had
post-college.
already-
I was
you had already-
working.
That's right, because
Yeah.
we were 23.
23. Yep. We're the same age. Yeah. Yeah. And Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I came home that day, never went back.
On Valentine's Street.
Isn't that?
What does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't. So one of the things through stuff like this is you. I mean, I think it's normal to like look for meaning
Totally.
in something, or
Totally.
or to make meaning of it as you move forward with it.
100%. There's lots of questions, right? So you're trying to make sense of those questions.
Yeah, and I feel like
Yeah.
depending on how we were raised, we were maybe taught like, oh, don't ask questions, just like obey or something. But I think it's like inherently like
Yeah.
human to question things,
I agree.
especially when things like this happen.
My initial question was I questioned why us, like why, like I questioned my faith actually. I went from like questioning my faith to diving into it.
I always ask people that too.
Yeah.
I always ask people like, what did it do to your faith? Because
Yeah.
some people will totally
I
abandon
questioned
it.
everything. Yeah. And I abandoned it at the beginning, I'll admit.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about, we went to like this, have you heard of Grief Share?
Yeah.
Okay. And I have no idea if it's still a thing. I mean, at the time, it was like a Christian-based grief group at churches. And we went through that process as a family, which was interesting. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, I have to think that he's in a better place. Like, otherwise, I literally won't get through this. See, I'm still getting emotional however many years later, right?
okay.
Sometimes I can talk about it and I'm totally fine. And sometimes I get emotional.
You'll have no idea how normal that is.
No, I know. And I was so refreshed by watching your film because so much of what they shared, I was like, yes, yes, yes. Like I totally related to.
Yeah.
Totally. Totally. Specifically, when somebody said, grief is so different for everyone because their relationship with that person is so different.
Looking for the ultimate summer drink? Dutch Bros has got you covered. Their new matcha lineup is basically sunshine in a cup. Cool off with a lavender matcha lemonade, sip on a sweet and tangy passion fruit matcha, or go creamy with their white chocolate matcha latte. Each one packed with flavor and perfect for those hot summer days. Our current favorite, the Paradise Matcha Lemonade. A dreamy blend of matcha, mango, lemonade, and real strawberry fruit. It's refreshing, energizing, and tastes like vacation in every sip. So next time you're out, treat yourself to a matcha moment at Dutch Bros, and make sure you're following them on Instagram at Dutch Bros Fresno. Spring is in full bloom, and so are the San Joaquin Flower Collective's beloved flower pop-ups. Fresh, local blooms straight from our valley's flower farmers, ready to brighten your home, your day, your week. But here's the catch. These pop-ups are seasonal, and so are their blooms. You may have noticed the beautiful florals on some of our podcast episodes if you're watching on YouTube. Those florals are beautifully arranged by local floral designer Darcy Hovsepian of DH Floral, with blooms sourced from the collective. To find out when and where to snag your bouquet, whether you're a florist or just a flower lover, follow at SJ Flower Collective on Instagram for all the latest updates. Because nothing quite says spring like an armful of fresh flowers. I'll see you at the next pop-up.
Can't stress that enough when I
Yeah.
talk to people. Like,
Yeah.
especially for someone like yourself. Like, not only was it your sibling, and sibling loss isn't really talked about, you were also triplets.
Yeah.
And so then you and Alicia have, like, the same relationship to him. However, your relationship of yourself to them is different.
So different.
And you're going to experience the loss differently.
Same with Tara. Same with my parents. I mean,
of course.
like now as a parent myself, I actually cannot imagine that. I cannot fathom that. I just, yeah. And friends, you know, the friendships, he had so many friends. He was the glue that kept a lot of the friend groups together. So that's been interesting to kind of see that sort of change,
Yeah.
you know, over the years. But I really lean into my faith, and I'm stronger in my faith now than I ever was.
I love that.
Yeah. For me, that's my sort of
Yeah, what I always say, like,
story,
you know, whatever works for you. I mean,
yeah.
especially in something like grief, and no matter what it is, like if it's working for you, do it. It's not going to work for everybody, but you know, I still like subscribe to the, you know, as long as you're not hurting yourself or hurting others, like do what you need to do to move forward with the pain.
Totally.
As it's
I know.
part of
Who
you.
was it? Oh, I went to a funeral on Saturday, actually, and I'm going to one tomorrow. And they're for parents, our parents' age, you know, our age, friends who are now losing their parents. And,
We're old now.
you know, my friend, what?
So we're old now.
Old, I know. I'm planning our 20-year high school reunion.
That's disgusting. That's what I was going to say. Like at the beginning, I was like, we've known each other for like 25 years
Literally, yeah. That's wild.
or more.
That's wild. We've known each other longer than we haven't.
I was like, aren't we 25
Aren't we?
years old now?
Yeah. I know I shouldn't have blasted the age thing. But, funeral. So my friend, you know, I see her after the funeral, and she's like, does it ever get easier? And I'm like, no.
She asked you this.
She asked me this. And granted, she just lost her dad. I lost my brother. Her dad had cancer. My brother died in a car accident. Like very, very different circumstances.
Yeah.
And I, again, appreciate this about your film, how, you know, no two grief stories are the same. And so it's hard because you want to relate to somebody and you want to show that, like, you're not alone, but also we are in very different situations. So I just try to tell her, you know, my experience was, you know, I had this big sigh after Jay's funeral. Because it was very shortly after Catholic, you know, how that rolls. And I just remember having to take like a deep breath and just like actually cry and like actually grieve because the shock wore it off a little bit, you know? So I could kind of see that in her. Like I could see that she just almost needed to like take a deep breath and just like have a good cry and just be,
Yeah.
when she had been stressing and planning this celebration.
I had a good cry the other day, and
Yeah.
I just remember. I don't know if it was, now I forget what it was about, but I remember maybe it was about my grandma.
Yeah.
But I remember, and I tell myself this too. Like I believe in it's inside you, and it's always going to be there.
Clearly. Yeah.
And occasionally, it's like, hey, you need to let me out, whether it be in the form of tears or
Totally.
screaming into a pillow
Or just, I thought it was interesting. I think it was Natalie. I don't know if she said it on your podcast or it was in the film. I think it was on your podcast. You guys were talking about just how to be there for somebody after loss or going through the grief process. And she made an interesting point of just like setting time to cry.
Yeah.
Interesting concept. I've never done that, but it's interesting because to your point, it just kind of, it's almost like maybe like a cleanse of sorts. I don't know.
It for me, because I've done that.
Have you?
before. Yeah, I was in a group, a church group, yeah, like where someone had said that. I think the therapist that was like leading the group had said, set some time aside, whether it be, and this is like, keep in mind, this is people that are like walking with this every day.
Yeah.
Like it's with you. Like you're not gonna forget it. You know,
Totally.
it's not just like,
Totally.
and it's not like someone else is gonna like remind you, oh,
Yeah.
thanks for reminding me. Now I'm sad, but I wasn't
Yeah.
sad before. And it's like, well, it's with them every day.
Yes.
So when it's with you like that, I think it is a little easier to access those parts.
You're
of you.
right. You're right.
And,
That's a good way to put it.
and you can just, it's almost like some form of like prayer or meditation. You just sit aside and you're like, what am I feeling about this right now? You know, what is it telling me? What do I need from it? And I found that to be very helpful
Yeah.
because, you know, especially when people are in like acute grief in the beginning, they can't.
I just see that in her so much. I'm like, wow. And when she said, does it get any easier? I'm like, no, I don't know that that's the right word to use for me.
Sure.
You know, I think to your point, the
Yeah.
loss is always there. The sadness is
Yeah.
always there. It's just kind of how you,
Part of you.
yeah.
It becomes.
sure.
I don't think people talk about that. Like it's part of your identity.
Why do you think grief is so taboo?
America specifically, I
Yeah.
think it is.
It is.
Because we're always about like America's the great
Yeah.
great country. We're always about winning. We can't be losing. So if you've lost someone, you're a loser, and that doesn't feel good to lose. So how do we rush through that and get back to work and back to being the best we can be? And it's just like that's not how it is, but it's for some reason it's part of our society. And I don't have all the answers to
No, that's
any
a
of
good
that.
point, yeah.
But I just think it was just traditionally we don't do it the right way. I mean, I appreciate in Jewish culture sitting Shiva because you cover up the mirrors. You like aren't allowed to shave. You're not allowed to go out to like theater or like live music or anything like that. And is it 40 days sitting? Something like that.
I don't know, actually.
But I think it's such a beautiful process because you actually make the space to grieve. Whereas I feel like a lot of Americans kind of just like, oh, well, I got to get back to work and I got to get this, you know, like I always I tell this on every podcast I'm on and I never tire of it. It's like if you were working at like Chipotle or something, and I don't know why I always use Chipotle as an example, but, and you go, hey, my brother just passed. I can't come into work. And the manager says, okay, but Monday though, you're good for Monday, right? We need coverage at the bar on Monday. And that's just not how it works.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
It's like, and sometimes people think, you know, like what I learned through this whole process, like talking to all these people is like, ask people how they're doing, like 6 months from now, a year from now, you know?
It's so true.
It's like, I feel like
It's so true. Yeah.
people just want to say like, oh, I'm sorry. And then you're like, okay, I said I'm sorry. And then
I mean, yeah,
moving on.
I was in a really serious relationship at the time, and shortly after the funeral, he thought that life was going to go back to normal.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, no,
it doesn't.
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, and my life is completely turned upside down. So if you want to go back to the norm, that's great, but I'm going to be right here.
Well, what is what is normal after you've, experienced
I agree.
a catastrophic loss?
But that's like your example of the Chipotle thing. It's like that's kind of how he felt.
And
like, okay, we've got through the funeral. Let's get back to it.
Well, I think that's part of it. That's part of like we think that because we've memorialized it, then we're healed. What about like? First of all, that's not what that means. And second of all, there's so many other like little. Not even little, but major griefs that people experience whether you don't memorialize it.
Totally.
And so
100%.
how do you?
Well, and grief isn't just death.
No.
It's loss of job, it's loss of marriage, it's loss of pet, it's major life changes, loss of friendships.
Yeah.
Like the list goes on.
The friendship loss is huge.
Huge.
No one talks about that, especially as you get older. It's like, isn't that weird? Like, think about like.
How do you? Yeah.
I always think about like my parents, and I'm like, isn't that weird if they like got into a fight with a friend and now they're like not friends anymore? Like that's so weird to think about.
I love that you think of your parents. That's cute.
But like we're older now. We have friends. I feel like as you get older, your group of friends gets like smaller and sometimes even tighter, which is
Totally.
good.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Like if you have a friend, like I had a dear friend that just like left my life, and it was like so painful.
Well, it's hard when you're super close and then you're
Yeah.
not. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
like any relationship. But yeah, grief is a rocky road. I appreciate you just trying to sort of normalize and speak up about it. I think that's
Yeah.
really refreshing, really great,
Yeah.
honestly. In our family, we really try to talk about Jay every day.
I love that.
Uncle Jay. Like my
Yeah.
kids know Uncle Jay. We go to the cemetery on Valentine's Day and my birthday. We talk about him all the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah, but it's not all families are like that.
No, and
Interesting.
the interesting thing is people, like I could easily be here right now and say, "Oh, I didn't want to say his name. I didn't want to bring it up because I
Totally.
didn't want to
I,
make
like,
I didn't want to
love
make
the-
you sad."
Yeah,
You know,
right.
You know what I mean? Like that's what
right.
people will do.
Totally.
And it's like, but you haven't forgotten about it. If I'm thinking about John till this day, of course you're thinking about him.
100%. And I want to hear all the things. I love hearing the memories. I love hearing all that. Even if I'm crying, it doesn't mean I'm sad. It just means
Yeah.
I miss him.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, like John and I used to shower together in gym class.
Oh my God. You guys and your shenanigans.
Are we
in high
rolling
school.
where we started? Could you imagine?
Oh my God, Grant.
So today we have Grant Garry
Today-
cut to a tight shot of me. Oh, we're on.
Oh, we're on. We're doing it. So I feel like you could be hosting this, Grant. You have your own podcast.
Welcome to
seriously.
this is the Call Me Daddy podcast. What is this? What's the name of this?
I'm dead. Coffee Monday.
Coffee Monday, the great Coffee Monday.
Okay, so coffee. Let's talk coffee.
Let's talk about coffee.
You did a documentary on coffee?
We did this so it started out as a documentary. It's now like a series, which we're
Need to
just
see this.
it's in the can, as they say.
Okay.
And we're gonna be finishing it up soon. So I went to Guatemala. I got really connected with some people in the coffee industry in Los Angeles.
How? Just curious. Like through friends at an event.
How did this
through
start?
work?
Everyone's connected.
I know.
There.
I in general, I want to know what it's like to be a filmmaker in LA because I feel like
Oh,
and an actor. You've got it all. And a podcaster now. And a certified grief educator.
Who are you talking
Who
about?
are you? Who are you?
Which one of those things do you want to talk about?
So as a filmmaker,
Yeah.
you're sort of like, you get to build your own projects, you get to build your own schedules. I mean, obviously dependent unless you're like an actor on a film, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
help me understand that,
Yeah,
right?
or in theater, yeah.
Or in theater, which you've also done.
Yeah.
So you get to kind of shape the projects that you work on as far as like whether it's directing or, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so I I feel like I graduated college at a time when it was getting to that point where, and I mean, now it's like very normal in the space where like you make your own stuff. And your cousin, Peter, and I
Yeah.
were like, no, let's make something. Like, no one's like hiring us right now. Like, let's make something. So it was like a handshake. And we made we've made he and I worked on like a number of things together.
I know, it's so great.
And and you learn something from like every project, you know, and you meet new people, which is beautiful. And yeah, it's like, for me, I've always wanted to act. I've always wanted to tell stories. And then I recently got into the documentary space, which I love so much because it's like, it's so meaningful for me to like sit and do what we're doing right now. Like, this is meaningful to me that we're able to just like share
Same
with
yeah.
each other, you know?
Yeah.
And so I found doing documentaries, you can really, like, I feel like having long form, nuanced conversations about things, whether it be grief or finding meaning or like spirituality, I think that's where we like start to heal, like
Totally.
as a society. Because I talked to like 30 people in this last documentary each.
There were a lot. I was thinking
Yeah.
that for you.
Yeah.
And they were all, for the most part, I took it as a viewer, they were all filmed like in their homes.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not all, some maybe
Yeah.
look, you know,
Yeah,
but they
most-
looked like they were in their homes.
Yeah, most of them we traveled, like we went to New York, we went to Portland, we went to
Wow.
up and down California.
Wow.
It was important, like, for me to meet with these people in a space that they were comfortable for the most part, you know, like
That makes sense. They
Yeah.
have pictures, they have memories that they're
Yeah.
sharing, sort of items.
yeah,
How did the film come about? Let's back up a little bit.
sure.
Yeah.
So there's like 3-4 different things that all kind of like
Yeah.
converge to like
Yeah.
make the film happen. If we back up a little bit more, when
Yeah.
I was in college, I took a course in grief, which was actually in the theater department, and which I think now theater people who are like made to do exercises where you have to like, you know, feel your feelings in some way. I feel like it was more real. It made a lot more sense than you think when you first
Well, when you
say
put it that way, for sure. But when you said it's in the theater program or department, I'm like, huh.
It's odd, right? It's odd to think about it first.
But it makes sense.
But I mean, like the first day was like, the professor walked in and was like, does anybody know anyone that has died recently? And we're like, oh, this is how it's going to be. Okay. So like everyone was looking around, a hand goes up, another hand goes up. And then we asked them to start sharing. And it was just so impactful. Like, I'd never been part of like that type of like community feeling before.
Yeah.
And it stayed with me. We read some terrific books during that time too.
Speaking of, have you met Armin Bacon?
I have the book.
Griefland?
I have the book. I don't.
You should read it.
We never sat down and talked. I do have the book though. Yeah. And so, you know, then fast forward a little bit. I had done another film with your cousin Peter, Black Cat. It's available on Amazon Prime. Every once in a while, I'll get like a notification. It was like somebody watched it in Germany. I'm like, okay. So there's a nonprofit organization here in Fresno it was formed. It was in honor of the founder's son, who had gone to San Joaquin Memorial. Not in my class, much
Younger, right?
younger than
Yeah.
I, who tragically passed, and I felt a connection to that. They had approached me because they had come to the film that your cousin Peter and I had done.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what no one knew what we were doing in the beginning. And so we had like multiple, this was like, keep in mind, this was like during COVID too.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
timing wise, wasn't that around
It was
COVID?
like, yeah, it was like coming out of COVID when we like really started this. And so we had like a number of Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
And after a number of Zoom meetings, we weren't sure, but I knew they wanted people to see like what grievers go through. Like what
Wow.
like what really they go through, and like how we can help them, you know? And I thought about it, and I was like, I think we can make like a documentary film if
Yeah.
that's the goal. If the goal is to like spread awareness, help people, start the conversation, or
Yes.
keep it moving a little bit more.
Right.
And so yeah, and then it just it was just a snowball. I mean, it was just like they connected me with a number of people around town here. Like I got to talk before he passed. I got to talk to Mike Reynolds, who did he was like instrumental in the 3 strikes law in California after his daughter was killed. And I was able to talk to him for that, which was,
Wow.
pretty
Yeah.
amazing. And I had some friends that were in like film and TV that I
Which was
I texted, and I asked Anthony Rapp, and he was like immediately like, so,
Yeah.
which that was to me, like that was something that I was so amazed by, was how willing people
Yeah.
are to talk
I was
about
gonna
it.
say, but was everybody willing? Did you
Yeah.
get some no's?
There were a
Like
few.
it's too fresh for me, or I don't feel like I'm not comfortable talking about it, or
Well, that was interesting too, because
Yeah.
we talked to a range of people.
I
Some
noted.
people-
You did a great job
Thank you.
of overall. I just really very much enjoyed it and related to a lot of the content. But you did a good job of like getting a wide range of people, a diverse group of people, and profiling different people that had different relationships with those that passed,
Yeah.
of all ages, of all types of relationships, which
Yeah.
I appreciated. It wasn't all, one sort of relationship, if that makes sense.
That was important to me,
Yeah.
because it wasn't just like, if you were to watch like a documentary about cancer or something, just some cancer,
Yeah.
it would be a bunch of doctors that have never had the cancer talking about the cancer. Maybe you get some people that have
Yeah.
had the cancer, but what I felt was unique about our film was you had the experts, the authors, and then they were also grievers in their own right. They had their own experiences.
Totally.
And then we had everyday people who were not actors, who were not authors, who were not, comedians,
Yeah.
that had their own life experience, some of which are probably not very comfortable in front of the camera as well.
No, that's why I'm saying you must have gotten some no's, right? Like,
In the beginning, I feel like I got some no's from like industry people.
oh, really?
But like, there were people that I think were, I did get some no's.
Well, because,
There was,
to your point, I don't feel comfortable. A lot of people don't feel comfortable on camera,
yeah.
And
that's
you're
what,
asking him to talk about a very vulnerable thing.
I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning too, like
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was like, do we need like a crisis counselor like on hand? Like,
Yeah. So did you? Well, you're a certified grief educator, right? Did that happen before or after the film?
what does that mean? What does any,
I was gonna ask you, what does that mean?
what does any certificate
I love
mean?
that you laugh about it.
It means I can sit here right now and have this conversation with you.
Yes. But like, do you have like clients? Is that a thing?
It can be. I do not.
Okay.
No, I didn't pursue it in that way.
realm. Yeah,
However,
I see now.
however, if you want to talk to me, I'm always like open to it. Like, I enjoy talking to people about whatever they're going through, because I do feel sometimes like we're not asked to talk about it. Like it's like what I was saying earlier. Like,
Yeah.
like it's like I know what happened to you, but I'm not going to say anything
Totally.
because I don't know what to say. And that's normal. Like we don't know what to say. You might not know what to say. So it's a really hard position.
I personally err on the side of I'd rather say something, or I'd rather have somebody say something than not. Because then it's the elephant in the room, and then it's like,
Most people are like that.
I know.
You know, I remember in the very beginning, shortly after your brother passed, like I just remember like feeling like I have to reach out to them somehow. I remember like at the time I think I sent you like a Facebook message or something.
I'm sure, Grant, that was such a blur.
I'm sure, of course it was.
Like such a blur.
And I remember I saw Tara like at the parking lot in like Whole Foods or something, and I just remember like it just like I was like I need to like we like waved like across the way from each other, and then I was like I have to like message them. I have to say something. I can't just like because it was inside me too.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Well, and then you also don't know that, right? You don't know how other people are grieving. And there were people that like Jay worked with, or that he had worked on parties with, like through grand occasions.
Yeah.
Like the baker that made the bread, like people like that. Like we had no idea who these people were.
Yeah.
And how much he impacted their lives. You know, and they were coming and bringing us all the things and telling us all the stories. And I really appreciated that, because that's all we have now is memories, you know? So, yeah, you just never know how other people are dealing with it too.
You never know.
Right?
Like I always say now, I'm like, and I heard this said somewhere, just always assume that someone is going, like anyone that you encounter is going through something, whether they're displaying it or not.
Mm-hmm. You know what else is interesting too? We go to the cemetery every Valentine's Day. And we kind of, because Jay is buried next to my grandparents and my uncle, and my parents like to like clean up the gravestones and like get it all tidy and bring flower. We all bring flowers and go. There's always somebody that's left something there before we get there.
Wow.
And we don't know who it is.
Who are you?
Who are you? We've made guesses over the years, but we really don't know who they are.
Yeah. It's me. It's every time. It's just
So it's just like, you never know.
How do you feel about that? How does that make you feel?
It makes me think back to like, wow, he really impacted so many people's lives that maybe we don't even know about.
Yeah.
You know? Or, probably more so than we think.
I think that's true.
You know?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I do feel like grief is such a rocky road. It's sort of like not talked about, and I really appreciate that you're normalizing that conversation.
Yeah.
It's really, really great,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's something. I mean, and like even though like I've had so many of these discussions now, like I did the documentary and I do the podcast,
and you do the podcast.
I still don't know what to say to people, because like for what you said earlier, every situation is so different that some people, like a text message might be sufficient. Mm-hmm. Other people, like maybe you actually like show up. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the important part is showing up. Mm-hmm. And then better like assessing the relationship you have to the person. So how can I show up for them?
Totally.
But I think that's like first and foremost, like what we need to do is show up for them.
Mm-hmm. What was maybe one of the biggest sort of lessons you learned in making the film? Because,
That's a tough one.
I know. You probably learned a lot,
Yeah.
right?
You always need more money to fund.
To fund
No,
a project.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Every time I do a film, I'm always like, okay, there needs to be this like unforeseen expenses line item on the
Miscellaneous.
budget. Yeah, miscellaneous,
Yeah.
whatever. And every time I'm like, yeah, we should double that next time around. No, but you know what I learned, and I say this often. Anthony was the one who told me this, and it just stuck with me, that you mourn their loss, and you also mourn who you were to them.
Yeah. I could see that.
Like who you were as a sister.
Yeah.
Because only you and him had that
100%.
relationship.
Yeah.
So like there's that part of you that like goes with them. Like even on like I say on like the most basic level, like if you and John had like an inside joke that was like
Totally.
just between the two of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
No,
what
it's
good
true.
is what good is
You
that
think
joke
about
if you're
those
telling
things.
me that now?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't my inside joke,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think about those types of things. And also letting people know that you're here,
Yeah.
you know, and that it's and just to say like how are you doing with your grief today? Like how are you doing today? You know, because
Take it day by day. I like that.
yeah, like you were saying that your friend asked you, you know, and I don't by any means have any answers here. It doesn't it changes.
That's why I agree.
It's constantly changing.
I agree. I could have this conversation tomorrow and be totally fine and not cry.
Yeah.
It's wild. It just comes out of nowhere and it's a very like I don't even know. It's just different.
I like to normalize. One of the things I learned, I think I may have already said this, but like how important it is to have these conversations.
Yeah, I love that.
Because it's especially like for me as a guy, I feel like guys are kind of like traditionally like we don't talk about our feelings.
About your
We don't-
feelings.
right?
Yeah.
So for me, that was really important. Like I want to be like, hey guys, it's okay, and like and I'll have that conversation with you.
Right.
And because I feel like the hard conversations are how you start healing, how you start moving forward. And I always like to point out, not moving forward doesn't mean like you forget about
Moving
it.
on,
Doesn't
yeah.
mean moving. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah, I
mean
agree.
you heal. You can move forward with it because it is part of us, and it's always there, and it's just ever changing. It might become easier to carry, you know,
Yeah.
but
That's
it's
a good way to put it.
you know, but it's
Yeah.
still there. I mean, like my eyes are still bad if I don't wear my glasses,
Yeah.
you know, but I put my
Yeah,
glasses
but
on,
yeah.
I can see a little bit better.
Yes.
But-
That's a good comparison. Yeah. Like I've done this a time or two. How is it for you? Okay, so that makes sense as to why you sort of developed the podcast, it sounds like.
To have, yeah, I just,
Continuing those conversations,
Continuing
normalizing these conversations, spreading awareness, education, all the things. How is that for you? Is it like emotionally heavy? Like, do you ever cry and get like, you know what I'm saying?
oh yeah. Yeah, I cry all the time. I love it.
No.
Not so much,
Very in tune with your feelings.
not so
That's
much
very good.
recently.
Yeah.
Well, when I say recently, I mean like, I don't know. I probably cried like a month, last week or something.
You
but
said you had a good cry recently.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. It does feel good.
Yeah.
was-
That's good.
I was going through something, and I met my cousin this morning, and I talked to him, and I just felt good after.
Yeah, good.
Like the weight that I was carrying with me into that meeting with him, I was gone when I walked out.
See? That's great.
You know, so I feel grateful that I'm able to have those harder conversations. And for me, it's also just like about asking like the other person. Like I know, like it's usually not a secret when people are going through something, even though it kind of it's
Yeah.
just like you know that something is, especially when people are close to us. Like you know if there was a loss, you know if there. So just ask them because
know,
they
right?
oftentimes will talk to you, and you know many people don't stop talking because it's all in them. And there's so much that's in you that you carry around with you every day, and you're like, it needs to
Yeah.
come out somehow.
Well, I think to your point, people don't want people to be sad. I think that's like a thing. I
that's
think
such-
that,
yeah.
you know,
we
it's like, but how do you know if you don't ask?
we talk about that a little bit in the film too, where
Yeah,
it's like
you did.
where it's like I don't want to be sad. I don't want to make other people sad. And so then no one says anything and they don't want to make us sad. And it's like, but why is that a bad thing? Like sadness is a very normal
Normal.
emotion.
I love what Natalie said about normalizing education from a young age.
Yeah.
I hope she's doing things to move that forward.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're getting there more and more. Like there are,
I agree.
there
I
are
agree.
more like social, like emotional, like courses in school now.
No, you're right. I mean, the fact, first of all, let's rewind. The fact that you took a class on grief in college,
Yeah.
I don't ever remember that. as an
No.
option, right?
Well,
So
and
again, maybe it was sort of like connected to tapping into your emotions for theater, whatever that connection looked
Yeah.
like. But regardless, that's amazing
Yeah.
that it was offered and that
Yeah.
maybe people that weren't on the theater track could take it.
It certainly opened my eyes to
Really?
this, to like what grief is as a.
What would you, because we've all experienced loss, what would you say like one of your memorable losses has been?
Well, I think
Maybe the first?
the first. Well, I feel like I was too young for the first, which was my grandpa. But there's two that like really affected me. Like when I was like 15, my grandma passed, and it was odd because she had been having she had surgery, and it was kind of one of those like, oh, this is a really high risk surgery, so like if something were to happen, it would be during the surgery. But then the surgery was successful, so we were like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to come home the next day, and then she like called the nurse to put her to bed, and by the time the nurse got there, she was gone. She had a blood clot.
Oh, man.
And it was shocking because I felt like here, and you probably feel a similar way with your experience. Like here you are, your life is going down this path, and then all of a sudden you're in an alternate timeline.
Totally.
And you're like, wait, I thought I was on this one, but now my life is here. How do I
Totally.
get back to that
Over there.
universe?
Yeah. Totally.
And I just felt something like messed up in the universe. Like something, there was
And
like
you're old enough, you said you're 15. Like,
Yeah.
that's a fragile age,
it was hard.
you know?
It was hard. Because like a 15-year-old boy, like going to Catholic school, like what do you do with your feelings?
Yeah. You just bury them. You don't address them.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
could say that I'm Catholic, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
But seriously, I think I shared this with you before. You hear these horrible stories of things that happen to people, and you never think they're going to happen to you until they do. Until maybe sometimes they do,
Yeah.
which is wild. So is your grandma probably your first like core memory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
absolutely.
loss, of
Absolutely.
grief. Yeah.
And then like
Yeah.
over the years, like breakups and stuff
Yeah.
like really just can destroy you and
100%.
destroy your heart.
Yeah, that's one thing people don't talk about is heartbreak.
Yeah. Heartbreak is real.
At any age, at any type of relationship, friendship, romantic, marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever.
It's a real
It's a
loss. It's a major grief. And it's not often talked about. And I feel like, too, people want to say, like, like if they left you or if they broke up with you or they did something, people want to just say, like, good riddance, they did you a favor or you'll find somebody else. It's like, but would you say that if they died?
Truth.
Or would you say that like
If they were standing right there.
right.
You know?
So
They say that, and I think that's similar to any type of grief or loss. People say things that they think are going to make you feel better,
which is fine. Like I mean
like pump you up, right?
Yeah,
like
I-
you're better without that person or whatever.
which
It's
is
like,
really that's a hard one, especially
Yeah.
if it was not your
like, but I was with that person for a
Right.
very long time. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
and
don't discount that.
you're grieving a future that you thought you were going to have.
100%.
It's like, oh, maybe kids weren't involved, and they
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, thank God you didn't have kids, and you say, but that was part of the plan, so now I'm
That-
grieving that part of it too.
Truth.
Or if it's a job loss, and you're like, well,
Yes.
now I'm grieving the career I thought I was going to have on this path, and now I have to, shift
Mm-hmm.
my life somehow. And it's just like you said, like no two experiences are alike, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just a deeply, deeply nuanced subject, and I think that's why we're like not that good at it as a
Truth
Society.
as a society.
because
Yeah.
it's like,
But you said in America, you think other countries are better?
well, I do,
doing
I
it
mean,
better?
I do think,
Talking about it more or what?
I don't know. I do think, like I said, in Jewish culture, like with sitting Shiva, I do think there is something to that. I do think in like Buddhist culture, there's this like line about law. What is it? Like loss is inevitable, like suffering is optional or something. I'm of course misquoting it.
Yeah.
But there's something about like what to do with the loss, in that like my interpretation of it is like suffering is what happens when you're not allowing yourself to grieve. Like you're not allowing yourself to cry. You know.
I think that's right. Why I cry on a whim.
But that again,
I
like
don't know though, because I feel like I'm not afraid to cry.
Yeah.
I don't hold it back.
you shouldn't be.
You
You
know.
shouldn't. Yeah. It
So I don't
feels
know.
good, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like until next time.
Right. The other thing too that was touched on in your film that I appreciated is just like signs of them. Of them either gone
Yeah.
or just signs that they're like saying hi, you know?
That's always so interesting to me.
It's fascinating. So our thing in our family for Jay is the ladybugs
Yeah.
or him. And then we see, ironically, we see license plates all the time that say JW.
Wow.
And we'll have I literally just had it a couple days ago and I texted the family group chat, but I was like, such a busy day, go, on the go. And then I go to pick up MJ from preschool and I turn over and it's like JW on the license plate next to me. And it just like stops you in your tracks. You know, it's like no matter how busy your day is, no matter what you have going on, or you're praying or thinking of something and you see it and it's like, thanks, you know?
Yeah.
But I was at that funeral last weekend and they said ladybugs too for their dad.
Interesting.
And everybody has their things, right? Like if
Yeah.
it's birds or if it's music or I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many things.
I love that. Like I love if people, and I mean me personally, like I believe that there's, you know, our people are in a, you know,
Yeah.
spiritual place, call it heaven, call it whatever you want. But I do believe that, you know, there are,
Yeah.
their spirit, their soul is in a dimension that can sometimes cross over to where we are and contact. I mean, I've just had so many experiences to like not to believe, like, and I've heard so many people tell me so many experiences that they have had that I think are so beautiful. And I was talking to John Farley the other day and he was telling me about how
His was really interesting.
isn't that something?
Yeah.
He gave me, so for my birthday, he came up and he like gave me like this folder. I was like, what are you giving me a folder of pieces of paper for? And I opened it up and it was these old Saturday Night Live scripts that
Oh
were
my
that were
gosh.
Chris's. And I thought they were the
Grant.
original scripts that he gave me. And it was like, it was really cool. And it was like Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, like Adam Sandler. It was all these like, it was really cool. It was really nice.
That's so
And
cool.
I was like, I'm going to frame this and put it in the podcast. And he's like, yeah, I figured you could frame it and put it in this. So, but he was telling me, we were having a talk about this. And he always thinks about his brother, you know, and how, you know, his brother used to say, like, it wouldn't make sense to not believe in it.
Yeah.
To not believe in the goodness and because like if you're only on this life, if you're only here
Yeah.
to do what he's like, then why are we here?
Then why are we here? Yeah.
You know, and I know that's like a very like natural like that's a very human question. Like, what is our purpose? And I think grief kind of helps us maybe find more purpose. You know.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. So what are you hoping for with this, going down this road of grief education, expanded awareness? Do you have specific goals in mind that you want to explore with that? Continue with the podcast?
Yeah, I mean,
make another film? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely want to make another film at some point.
Okay.
Just because I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, and it also like opened me up to this like whole community of people that I never knew and never knew existed, and we're just like this community of people that are all like kind of like got each other's backs.
Yeah.
And I also feel like some of my friends in that like community call me like the ally because I'm not like 100% in the community at all times. Like some of them it's just like that's their whole. You know, that's their whole thing. Their whole platform is grief. Their whole,
Yeah.
the book. It's like, yes, I did a film on it, but I'm also
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
like I do
Yeah,
musicals
other
and
things. Yeah.
stuff too. So it's not like
Yeah. You got a diverse portfolio.
yeah, I try.
That's good.
I also like can't sit still to do
I was
like
gonna say, how do you juggle that? How do you juggle like acting and filmmaking and theater and podcast? Like, how do you? I'm always very intrigued by how people manage their time and kind of prioritize things.
Yeah.
How do you, what's a day in the life of Grant Garry look like? Please do tell.
I get up at like 6 in the morning.
Okay.
I take the dog out.
Cute.
I have coffee, which we haven't talked that much about coffee.
I know. Can we actually talk about that right now before we get into okay? You did a docu-series, right?
Yeah, you were. Wait, how did we get here? We were talking about it, and
That's
then like
how I know.
shifted, and then I shifted. This is what I do.
I know.
I call it the weave.
Squirrel.
I weave in and out. There's so many
Whatever
things
you want to call it.
There's so many things that we can cut out of this episode.
There's no cutting. We're just rolling.
I love that. Well, that's another thing about
Coffee.
me. Yeah, coffee. Oh yeah. Okay. So like I went to Guatemala and I farmed coffee beans and
Guatemala.
I appropriately
Oh, I know how we got. Okay.
named
Yes.
I appropriately named my own blend Grant's Grounds. And but connecting this with the grief documentary is like, what did I learn from coffee?
Okay.
Is that coffee like gives us permission to like be present in the moment. And I've always found like when I have my experiences with coffee or when I have coffee with somebody, it's always about the experience that I'm having, that human interaction, right? Like if we went to a restaurant, like we could eat the meal and then when we sign the check, then it's done.
Yeah.
But the coffee could be done and we could be sitting and having this conversation for hours later. So I was like, there's something here. There's something about the way humans interact over a cup of coffee. And oftentimes it's not, no one's like yelling at each other.
It's not like a heated conversation.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, maybe like the like debates should be done over like a cup of coffee, right? Like maybe it should just
I think it could temper the
Right?
yeah.
So-
energy.
So for me, it was like, yeah, just like I really enjoyed like being able to have like long form conversations with people,
Love
and
it.
like we'd like I said, we went to Guatemala. That was a pretty unbelievable experience. It was
I bet.
amazing.
How long were you there?
We weren't there that long, maybe like 4 or 5 days.
Oh wow.
And then my filmmaking partner in it, he went back a couple more times and filmed more. And then we filmed at like various coffee shops. And I had some like comedians and some like TikTok stars that like I filmed because I wanted to get like different like perspectives with people.
Yeah.
And like what their experience was, like I talked to one girl, this TikTok star, and we had like the most like deep conversation like over a cup of coffee, and we were like tasting like different kinds too.
Yeah.
So
you're like a coffee connoisseur?
I don't
Like you know coffee?
I don't know.
I definitely don't.
Oh, you don't know coffee?
Not really, no.
What's your like ideal like coffee experience?
Experience?
Yeah.
Kind of what you're describing.
Right?
Like I'm all about a vibe. I'm all
Yeah.
about the ambiance of the
Yeah.
place. There's nothing that brings me more joy
Yeah.
than being in a trendy, cool, aesthetically pleasing coffee shop, as basic and millennial as that sounds, and getting that bowl of a mug with a hot latte in it and the latte art.
Is that a go-to drink for you, a latte?
Latte is really
Yeah.
all I get. Yeah.
I've been let down so many times by lattes.
So what's your go?
Well, I always want it to be like
Same.
coffee forward.
Okay,
Meaning like I want to taste the
there's
coffee.
too much milk in a latte for you.
A lot of times, yeah.
So don't order a latte.
Yeah,
What
so-
about like a cappuccino?
I do a cappuccino sometimes. I really like a cortado.
Okay,
Which
yes.
is like equal parts espresso and steamed milk. I'm always interested in like what a a coffee shop's like espresso.
Flat white.
Oh, yeah. See, what's interesting about a flat white is like
Mm-hmm.
that didn't really like that wasn't like really a thing until like some of the
You don't
like
think so?
some of the, like the bigger places like called it a flat white. 'Cause
Yeah.
if you go like certain like specialty shops, like if you order a flat white,
Yeah.
a cortado or a macchiato, it'll be the same drink.
The same.
like,
I
every
agree with
single
that.
time.
Yeah.
But a traditional macchiato is, you know, a shot with
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just a dollop of steamed milk. And
Yeah.
you don't get that anywhere.
No.
You can't
no.
find that anywhere.
The consistency is definitely not there.
Yeah.
With that. I agree. I don't mind the milk. I don't mind it. But I also don't like sweet.
I don't like
I
like
love the
anything
taste
sweet.
of coffee. Like
Yeah.
people are always like, "Oh, you should think about tea or something." I'm like, "Ew."
Why? Yeah, why? Why? Why
Sorry.
did they say that?
Why?
You're like, no, you're not hearing what I'm saying.
No, I genuinely like the taste
I
of
love
coffee.
coffee. That's
Yes.
not the issue.
Yes.
I want the coffee to be
And
good.
I actually drink the coffee. I don't even like all the fluff. I do like milk in it though.
Yeah. I always like. Yeah. I mean, I like. I'll. Really, really good black coffee is amazing.
See, and really, I got to do that. People say that.
Come down. We'll do a
Yes.
tasting. It's like I learned through this process too. It's called cupping, and you sit at a table like this. It's a round table,
okay.
and it has like a what do you call it, lazy Susan? Is that
Yeah.
what it's
Lazy
call it that? Why is that what it's called? Susan.
Susan, step it up.
So we have all these different, usually single origins, and
Okay.
we just like spin it around, and we the way you taste it is you slurp it like with a soup spoon because that aerates it in the mouth,
See, I don't know.
and it's a lot like wine tasting,
I was going to say, Grant, how do we normalize coffee tasting like wine tasting?
Right?
I would do that.
we have to.
I would do that. People go wine tasting and make a day out of it.
Right.
I would 100% make a day of coffee tasting.
Yeah, I know. It's
Why do we not have that here? It's going to happen.
It's gonna happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I absolutely think it's because it's so amazing that you know how like when you taste wine, you're like, oh, you know how they're like, this one tastes like your grandfather's leather
Nutty,
boot with
yeah.
beef jerky and a hint
Cherries.
of cherry, and you're like, okay, I guess I'll spit that one out. And then it's the same with coffee though, where it's like they'll say, okay, now this one should have like notes of like citrus in it. And
Notes.
I had never experienced it until I sat and you go from this one to that one. You're like, oh my God, that's like a grapefruit bomb. And then you're like, that one tastes like blueberries. And it's the way it was roasted. If there's a good master roaster, they're called a Q grader. And I guess it would be the equivalent to like a sommelier.
Yeah.
But it's if they're a good Q grader, they know how to roast the beans
Q grader.
from
Never heard this term.
from the region in which they were grown. So like different soil is gonna make it taste
Makes
different,
sense.
right?
Makes sense.
So I don't even know what I'm saying. What am I doing? I'm like
We were talking coffee.
no, I know, but I'm not in it that much to where I can just. I'm just a guy that likes coffee. Okay.
Yeah. So what do you order? So you order your macchiato or what'd you call it? Cortado.
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, so like in the mornings, I'll do like an Americano with like a light splash of cream or sometimes heavy cream. Sometimes I'll tell them like put less water than normal. You know why it's called an Americano?
Tell me.
So
Watered down coffee.
Well, yeah, because
American way.
no, that's exactly it. If I'm remembering the origin of that correctly, it was during World War II
Yeah.
because in Italy, like it's just espresso is their coffee.
100%.
And the Americans that were like stationed there were like,
Too strong or
what is
something?
this? This is way too strong. So they started diluting it with water
Wow.
to better like resemble what drip coffee was like here in America, because like we didn't have like specialty
didn't
coffee
have that.
there. So there's 3 waves of coffee, and I think we're getting into like a 4th wave now. So it's like first wave is like the crap out of a can that your grandparents would get.
Folgers in your cup?
Yeah. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Is that it? That's the tune, right?
100 yeah.
Then it was like the second wave was more like you saw like
the grounds and the
a
filter.
little more going into it. You got like your like your big three, I guess, like your Starbucks, your coffee bean. Am I remembering? See, I'm not even remembering the 3 waves. And then the third wave was like more transparency, like through like the grower and the roaster and the like retail space. And you found like a lot more like single origin beans.
I find it interesting the shift our culture, our country is going.
I made all that up,
Where-
by the way. That was all just
Honestly, you
that was
made
my improv training.
had me fooled. So there's this whole wave of sober curious.
I'm sober.
Are you?
Over 2 years now.
That is amazing.
Because I got curious.
Yeah.
A lot went into it, but yeah.
But see, okay, literally just talked to somebody this morning too that is also sober.
But I replaced it with like Diet Coke, so I don't know.
Yeah, DC and coffee. Here we are. But that's the thing, though, is now there's an uptick in places like Swigs and coffee shops or soda shops, and all of these specialty coffee concepts.
Because I think we're finally getting to the point where we want to like interact with humans as they are.
Yeah.
Not
literally. Truth. And also, we're way more health conscious now than I think we were even 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And we want to do things that are good for our body. I know, I was like reading somewhere the other day, like it's very normalized that people are just like calling alcohol like literal poison.
Somebody
Like, you're
said,
literally, like, poisoning your
drinking alcohol is the new age smoking. I'm like, dang.
Do you ever wish like smoking was like not bad for you? But like we've replaced
It has such a sex appeal to it.
Right?
Yeah.
We've replaced it with this.
100%. And now, you know,
Or
what,
like water
10?
bottles. Like everyone carries a water bottle around. You're
Oh,
like,
I
check out
know.
all the stickers on my water bottle.
Oh, literally, my kids. And I've seen so many funny memes about that are like, we drank from the hose and the fountain. We never even owned a water bottle. Like, why now all of a sudden is this the thing that has to go with you every place?
So weird.
It's a thing, though.
It's a thing. Well, at least it's water.
I'm carrying like heavy ass water bottles everywhere for the kids. It's a thing.
But yeah, no, I like for me, the quitting alcohol just came from like too much like anxiety. I got to a point where it started to not feel good anymore when I drank.
You were conscious of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you were like in tune with yourself to know like, yeah, this isn't right for me.
Yeah.
Or anxious or whatever.
Yeah. I didn't like the way I felt when I was doing it. So I was like, let me just try for like 30 days in like January or whatever.
Like a dry Jan, yeah.
Yeah. And then the 30 days went by, I was like, I don't really need it. I'm not really missing it.
Yeah.
And then I just kept going, and it's been over 2 years now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll have dreams every once in a while where I have like a whiskey like on the rocks or something, or just something like, or I'll be drinking like an old fashioned.
Yeah.
And then I wake up and I'm like, did I mess up last night? Did I slip up? And then I'm like, oh no, it was just a dream. But it's kind of
like a weird dynamic.
About, but
well, now they have so many good like mixes that taste like that are non-alcoholic.
Yeah. So it's been, again, it's like, it works for you, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Okay, so let's go back to a day in the life of Grant Garry, because I feel like we've talked a lot about the filmmaking side of your career.
Yeah.
I want to know more about the acting side of your career.
Oh, yeah. That way, I mean.
And how do you like manage all the things? Like, let's maybe start with like just what a day looks like.
I don't know. We're just, the secret.
Okay, so you said, no, this is how we got talking about it.
Yeah.
You let the dog out, you get your coffee, and then we digress. That's about as far as we got.
I like to spend, so around that time, like the coffee time is the time where I will meditate or pray.
Love
or
that.
I don't put the news on in the morning. I haven't done that for a long time. Doesn't make, like, who's happy when they watch the news? Like, I don't care like what side of the political spectrum you're on. Everyone says like, oh, the media is the way. Just, oh, did you hear what so-and-so said? Did you, who's that helping? No one. So I was like, how can we just like be more present in the morning? And what's a better way that I can start my day where I'm a little more centered? So I started to notice this like experience I would have with coffee in the morning, and I just really like loved it. I would look at the flowers. I would look at the paintings on the wall. I would just like take everything in more. And it allowed me to be more present. And I would really just get like centered for the day. And that's, you know, and now I
meditate, you said?
I
Or
would
pray?
meditate or pray, you know. I read a lot of nonfiction.
That.
And it really just like I like learning new things and seeing like different perspectives on things. So yeah, I try and read in the mornings because I'm not someone that can read before bed. I always fall asleep.
Same.
So it's like, what's the point? Like I want to be in
I literally don't think I could get through a book.
No,
I 5 pages, I'm out.
exactly. So
Yeah,
so it's like
that's good. Okay, reading in the morning, I like that.
yeah, and then whatever that day is,
Yeah.
you know, whether it's filming or rehearsing or going to a voice lesson or something,
Oh,
you know.
wow.
But I can only really do like one thing at a time because I'm
Yeah.
so like
I would think so. That would be very demanding, right? Like if you're rehearsing for a play, let's say, that I feel like would just be a lot of time.
it's,
And how would you juggle that with making a film? I just don't know how that would work.
how do we do it?
How?
Yeah.
How? The time.
So like so the show I'm doing right now,
Yeah, tell me what are you doing right now?
we're doing The Wizard of Oz.
Love it.
It's gonna be in San Luis Obispo at the Performing Arts Center.
Amazing.
There. And last year I did Beauty and the Beast there. I was the Beast. I know everyone thinks I was Gaston, but I actually played the Beast. And it was like such an amazing experience. And so I'm really happy to be returning to like that theater specifically too. It's like 1,200 seats or something.
Amazing. So when is that?
It's going to be May
So in May.
17th, I think.
Okay.
When's your birthday? June? June
I love that you remember that. June
4th?
2nd.
Second.
Close.
Second. Oh my God.
Really great. Yeah. What else do you have in your bag of tricks here? Are you going to make me cry
There was
again?
this picture of John and I that I was looking for.
Oh my goodness.
I couldn't
Let me
find
see.
I couldn't find the specific picture, but I found this.
Oh my God. What is this?
He must have given it to me. Friends forever.
Oh my God. How do you keep these things? Oh, stop it. Our senior photo all together, dude. Did he sign
Wait, it's
it
my
back?
I don't want my finger covering.
I was literally just talking to Alicia about this.
So first of all,
Oh my God.
there is no signature.
We
on
took
the
our
back. Like, some of these
picture
are-
together.
By the way, most of these are like
I want to see.
supposed. I don't have that many in here.
Oh, this is
but
like a photo book. Oh my
it was like
God.
people were like giving them. So they're all like
hilarious.
single. So I was like looking at that, and I was trying to figure out like how were the yeah. How are the three of you sitting in that photo? Like, are
No.
you on like
Jay's
blocks
standing.
or something?
I do remember Jay was standing, and Alicia's shorter than me. So I think
yeah.
they put her up on a higher stool. But Alicia and I were literally just talking about this yesterday because I'm planning our 20 year,
Yeah, yeah.
and we're doing our senior pics on our name tags.
That's hilarious.
And Alicia dyed her hair right before pictures and cut it. She's like, I've never done that in my life.
The way it's there, the way it is
Yes.
there. Yeah.
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 Oh my God.
Isn't that hilarious?
That is hilarious. And I remember, I think that was at Fakara or something.
Probably.
And they had it
I
framed.
don't know why there's only like that's all that was like in this book. Like I guess not many people gave them to me, but
With the grad cap on there. Oh
Isn't that
my
something?
gosh, that's so good.
but yeah, I always used to remember that when I saw that photo, like that like took me back. Like
know,
when I was saying
right?
earlier, like we always like I would come over to your house like after
School.
school,
That was so fun.
John, and I'm like, are your sisters here? Are the girls here?
That was the other funny part about having sibling opposite sex, same age. Okay. So Jay dated Natalie. Do you remember this? Natalie Ray.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah,
She's one of my best friends
right.
still.
Yeah.
And I remember, back in that, we used to do sleepovers. It's not a thing as much anymore.
Right.
But we all did. I mean, maybe it was more popular for girls and guys. I don't know. But I remember Nat's mom was like, yeah, no, you're not spending the night over there. That's your boyfriend.
It's yeah.
I was like, but she's my friend.
I know. That's such an
And
interesting
then we went to
dynamic.
each other's formals and proms.
Yeah.
Jay came to ours. We
Yeah.
went to yours. Like, it was a thing. It was
Yeah.
just funny.
I know. That's why I always felt like, because we would have been like 16, 17 maybe at that time. And I always felt like, am I doing something wrong? Because like, I'm here to play with John, but like the girls are... The girls are here too, and something feels like wrong about that. Like, are we gonna get in trouble or something? Like, is your mom gonna call my mom and say like, the boys went into the girls' bedroom but like we would just like hang out.
Totally.
You know, like we would just like hang out.
Totally.
Yeah.
It was so funny, so innocent.
Like Alicia was like walking through like the kitchen, just like burped in my face one time, and I was like, that's how it is here. So we are just like all like...
That is perfectly on brand, yes.
We're all just like...
One big fam.
Hanging out.
I remember so many funny dinners. Like, did you ever come over for dinner? Like,
Probably.
I feel like our dinner table was always so funny.
Yeah.
And something wildly inappropriate happened. But we all... I don't know how my parents did it, honestly. Because Jay played golf. We all played volleyball. But somehow we all sat down for dinner pretty much every night.
That's great.
I know.
I think that is...
Like
such
pretty much every night.
Thing.
I
That's
know.
Great. We did that in my family too.
Right?
Yeah. Like, and it was always like if someone was over, like if John was over and we were like playing air hockey or something, it would be like, my mom would be like, okay, like it's time for you to go because we have to have our family dinner.
Like you're not invited by.
Fine.
No, totally. No, it was a thing. You're so right.
Yeah.
You're so right.
You know, your now husband and I were also like in Boy Scouts together.
So you did Boy Scouts too?
Yeah, that was a whole...
I love that. Did you like for how long?
So I was asked not to come back. Which I guess is probably like the best.
You still sound bitter about that.
Well, I was like 2 away from like Eagle or something like that.
Yeah, Michael was an Eagle Scout.
Yeah, and so they also said like you have to get Eagle because this is what's going to get you into college, and if you don't have it on your resume, and I'm like, okay.
They told you that? That's funny.
And so I have so many like things that I learned in Boy Scouts that I still like implement to like be prepared. Like I always like I never leave the house without certain things, and
really?
Oh yeah, I know how to
love
tie
that.
knots. Like like. It taught you a lot. I mean, we did like all sorts of different things, like rifle shooting and archery, and we would build things. You know, like we'd like find ways to like MacGyver stuff into like flotation devices, or like make a tent out of nothing. And we were on a trip to like somewhere up north once, and it was... I want to say it was like Sacramento, or we stopped in like Old Town Sacramento.
So were you in the same troop?
Yeah, for a while we were.
Wow. I got to look back at pics. Irene just gave me all of his pictures. Oh, it's such good content. I should have brought that.
So
so cute.
So we were with I think they were both your in-laws were on this trip.
Yeah, I think Mike at one point was a troop. I don't know. Is that the proper term for guys? Troop leader?
Scoutmaster?
Scoutmaster.
Yeah. And
Girl Scouts.
we went to like Old Town Sacramento, and there were like magic shops and things there.
Oh, I love it.
Where we bought like stupid little things. You know, like they buy those things, those things where you like shake someone's hand and they like zap them or whatever, like stuff like that. And someone bought, maybe it was me, it was probably me, bought like stink bombs. It was like there was like whoopee cushions, stink bombs, pop rocks, all sorts of stuff like that. And we were in the back of your in-laws' Suburban. We're like on our way back, and someone had the bright idea to like let's what do you call it? Like let's let off one of these stink bombs
in the car
in the Suburban. There's like 8 of us in there, and you just see like your mother-in-law.
Oh no!
What is that? What is? And then they like quickly found out. Did you boys, ignite one of those things? We pull over and like they take the bag from us and like they throw it away in like the McDonald's parking lot in like Los Banos or something.
Oh my God.
Harmless fun.
I mean, really, there are worse things.
There are worse
right?
things. That's what I always say. Like I'm always like, I always tell my parents.
Things.
I always tell my parents. I was like, I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't underage drinking. I wasn't involved in gangs. I wasn't.
Yes.
You
were doing stink bombs and Boy Scouting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you always known you wanted to be an actor or be in film, or like when did you do theater in high school?
So that was actually part of why I was like no longer a Boy Scout, I feel like, because I was
Really?
doing like a show. I was juggling like doing a show,
I don't remember.
playing water polo,
Yeah.
and it was like something, it was like one of those like something had to,
Timing of the things. Yeah.
yeah. So it just like didn't work out schedule wise.
Yeah. So you did theater in high school.
yeah.
And even before that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
I did like, yeah. I always did whenever there was an opportunity to do like a school play growing up. You know, I grew up going to the theater, and I thank my parents for that, you know, like taking me to see shows when I was a kid. And
Yeah.
I still now, like anytime I go to New York, you know, like I'll try and see a show. Now it's like I have friends in shows now,
Which
you know,
is
like
so cool.
which is so like, I mean, I'm in shows
Surreal.
too, but then I have friends
Yes.
that are like in Hamilton, you know, and stuff like that.
That's amazing.
You know, the girl that played like Belle when I was in Beauty and the Beast, like she played Belle in the national tour. She was like the longest like running Belle in the show, which was like cool, like to
cool.
play like opposite of some of these people. Like it's such an honor to like be able to play opposite these people on stage.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, like I used to beg my mom, like, please, like, get me on one of these Nickelodeon shows.
No way.
You know, like, you know, now looking back after all we found out about some of these Nickelodeon.
I don't know about Amanda Bynes, so that's okay.
But
Just kidding.
But you know, yeah, I've always known that I wanted to do it, and it's like it's so hard.
Yeah.
In that, who was it? Was it? I was listening to an actor talk about it the other day, and he was actually saying it's not hard. It's more of like your mindset. And it's like, I don't look at it as like, oh, it's such a struggle, or I'm not where like I want to be or anything like that.
Yeah.
I really just like, I'm so grateful for like every opportunity that I have.
Which is just so cool how different the opportunities that have
Yeah.
been for you that you're presented with, and that you get to learn more about certain industries or certain topics, or be able to perform in different facets. Like that's amazing.
I love
Like,
it.
You don't have a boring 9 to 5, you know, you get to express yourself creatively in all of these ways. That's a dream.
It is. And I'm like very blessed to like be in a position to be able to do like
Yes.
all these things that I do. And I still feel like, you know, I want to do so much more.
Yeah.
I have all these ideas of things that I want to do and projects that I want to work on and shows that I want to be in. And I never really get upset. Like there was a show I auditioned for recently, and I thought like for sure, like I was gonna get cast, and I didn't get cast, and I wasn't mad. I just told myself like that's okay because there's space being made for the actual show that I'm gonna be doing during that time.
Okay, so can you tell me what an audition's like?
For me,
Like what's that? What was that one
for
like?
theater, yeah, like I went.
So it was a theater audition.
Yeah, and like I
Okay.
do like mainly musicals. Like I don't typically do like straight plays.
Yeah.
Even though I would love to do one, I haven't done one in a while. I love doing plays. You know, not musical, not like a non-musical theater play.
Okay.
Musicals were just something that I found like kind of like getting back to grief a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I have found like you're literally emoting when you're singing, and I feel like music really is profound, like it's a profound way to let out some emotion that's inside of us.
Yeah.
And I just have felt such a connection to it over the like, I mean, honestly, like I used to tell myself like, I'm not a singer, like that's for other people. And then it wasn't until like my 30s
I
where,
was gonna say, when did you start singing?
I mean, I've always sang, but
Yeah.
I've never like considered myself a
singer. Yeah.
until recently. And it's like I
Yeah.
started doing like more shows, and I was like, oh, they casted me. They wanted me for that role. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then when I got the role of the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, I was like,
Wow.
you guys didn't want anyone else? You want me?
Yeah.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
Like it was
Wow.
crazy because it was
Pinch me
like a
moment.
dream come true. And then I was also like, did they make a mistake? Like I legitimately thought that. I was
Oh,
like, they
stop.
must have watched like somebody else's audition tape. Like seriously, it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love it. I mean, it's so fun for me. It brings me so much joy to be able to, and if I'm able to like be in a position to like move an audience member, you know, that's cool too,
It's everything.
you know?
So you're in the San Luis Obispo area performing, but you live in LA. How do you do that?
They house us for
Oh, nice.
yeah, for the production. It's,
That's amazing.
so it's cool. It's a really cool theater company. They, so like a lot of people are, and it's cool because like some of the people, that are in the new cast for Wizard of Oz were also in,
yeah, so what are you going to be in Wizard of Oz?
I'm going to be the Cowardly Lion.
Ooh.
Can you believe it?
I love that.
Yeah. So
We love musicals in our family. My kids are obsessed with The Greatest Showman.
that's a good one.
I mean, it's not a new film.
Story about a boy and his
We
dream.
love that movie.
I mean, like, yeah, I love that.
Big
they're doing
Wicked fans.
they're doing a stage version of it.
Are they?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you say Wicked too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wicked's I just
So
saw it.
good.
I just saw it at the Pantages.
Oh, my gosh.
It still holds
amazing.
up. It still
Right?
gives you chills every time she, right before.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's what was cool. I just love live theater anyway.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's this thing about like, if you're not like really like super into theater and you like a show, you kind of go in and you're like, oh, well, that's not how I heard it done on the CD or that's not how the
Yes.
original recording was. But
Yeah.
I love that. Like I love hearing someone else's interpretation of the character, So I really, it was nice. I was glad that I was able to see that recently.
So cool.
I had a friend. Those tickets were going for like they were like Broadway prices. Like they were going for like $400. I mean, this is a show that's been out since
I
2004.
was going to say, this is, yeah.
Obviously, with the height, the film coming out
yeah,
and everything. So, but I had a friend that got me tickets.
Those are good friends.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just love live theater, and I feel like that's something that can and should unite people.
Did you ever do any theater here outside of school, like Roger Rocca's? Or...
I did Roger Rocca's. Yeah,
You did?
I did it. My sister actually did it a lot more than I did.
Wow.
But I did one
You
of
guys are both performers.
she was actually like also a theater major too. People don't.
I didn't know that.
People don't know that.
Wow. I love that for you guys. It's in your blood. Where does
Yeah.
that come from, you think?
Well,
Were your parents, you said your parents like exposed you to
yeah,
shows and
my
stuff.
mother loves the theater.
Oh, I love that.
And that's kind of cool too, is because like she loves it so much. So like I
Yeah.
feel
You're like
really-
living out her dreams.
really
sort of thing.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I just feel real cool to like be able to like perform, and like she comes to see me like
Yeah.
lead a show.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, my mom definitely like loved theater growing up, and
I
but
love
like
that.
but the performance gene, like I don't know where that came from, because neither one of my parents were really like performers. Like they played sports, they had played instruments and stuff, but in terms of
Grant,
like
can I tell you that
yeah,
public speaking is my number one fear,
really,
which I think is
that's like
most people's.
85% of
Oh, it
Ameri-
gives.
or
Oh my
it's-
God, I
think-
hate it so much.
yeah.
So you never have gotten nervous, have you?
Well, when you're heavily medicated, you can do anything. No, yeah, no, of course.
I mean, I'm sure you get nervous. I shouldn't say that, but like you're clearly a performer. It's been in your blood from a young age. Like you're not like fearful. You're just nervous, right?
Well,
Or no? How do you navigate that?
it's hard. It's a challenge.
I
So, like,
bet.
I have over the years I've decided like I'm what you might call an introverted extrovert. So like right now I feel like I'm kind of like on
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
But there's a very good chance that I could be very like turned in. And so yes, like while I am used to like being on
Being in the
stage
spotlight,
and performing
yeah.
in front of tons of people, if I do have to speak
Mm-hmm.
like publicly, like I'm not always that excited about it, or not always that comfortable. Like I get nervous just like anybody else.
Really?
I also get nervous too when I sing, because there's still some sort of like thing from the
Imposter
past. Yeah,
syndrome.
from the past, where I'm like, are they going to be judging, every note? Like, am I going to be on pitch? Am I going to be, So yeah, I mean, I feel like,
You still get nervous, but you're not like
yeah.
fearful. Like you obviously perform. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah, it's not the easiest thing. but I
Right.
love it, but it's so gratifying.
Right.
So it's like
a full circle sort of,
Yeah.
of feelings, right?
Yeah.
I find it so cool that it's been in your blood from a young age. I
Yeah.
just am always, and like even with, you call him Peter, I call him PC, my cousin.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you're a good friend. And since I can remember, he was obsessed with movies.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, he knew every Indiana Jones movie.
Yep.
He collected
He still does.
VHSs, I'm sure. And it's just like, I admire that so much.
Yeah.
That from a boy,
Yeah.
you both,
Yeah.
it's like in you. And there
Yeah.
was no telling you you're not going to be something else. Like you're going. There was literally never, at least from my perspective and all of us growing up together, I feel like there was never an option for you not to be a part of this world.
You are right on with that.
It's like really amazing.
And he and I, you know, we talk every day, and he and I,
Yeah.
like, we pretty much have like the same outlook on things, you know, when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to that. And we've dealt with like a lot of the same types of things. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
just something that we've always wanted to do. We told each other when we started making like our first project, we said not making it's not an option. So let's start
Yeah.
there.
You like,
Right?
yeah, that was, yeah.
So
and
start-
I mean, that's just your whole career. I feel like
Yeah.
both of you.
Yeah. And
Like
that's
not doing it is not an option.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
And-
so amazing to see. Even both of you went to school for it,
Yeah.
pursued it every step of the way.
yeah.
It's really admirable because I feel like there are people our age that still don't know what they want to be when they grow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always knew, kind of getting back to like how you were saying, like a boring 9 to 5, if you want to call it.
I
Like,
mean,
I didn't.
you know where I was going
No,
with
absolutely.
that. Like,
I didn't. I knew from a young age that like, oh no, I can't function in that space.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't sit still. Like I can't. Like I have to be expressing myself with like-minded individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's kind of like take it or leave it. Like I don't. Like
Yeah.
I'm not someone that's like needs. Like no, this is just. It is who I am. Like,
Right.
You know, I know musicals are not everyone's thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like a big football guy, but like that's my football is theater.
right,
You know?
right.
So, and yeah, Peter and I were always like there was a group of us like
Yeah.
growing up, and it's so cool to look
it's
now.
so cool.
Peter and I even like have like there was a moment last year like we both like texted each other and like we were like let's pinch ourselves right now. Can you believe
Mm-hmm.
we're this age? We both have movies coming out.
I know.
You know?
It's amazing. And you both have experienced so many different facets of the filmmaking industry and
Yeah.
are pursuing that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and he's always wanted to be, you know, I never called myself like a director. You
Yeah.
know, that was always more his space than
Yeah,
mine. Mine
yeah.
was always more of like acting,
Yeah.
storytelling.
No, I know. Yeah.
But then as I like went through some of these other projects, like, you know, if you were to tell me 5 or 6 years ago that I would have directed a documentary about grief, I wouldn't have believed you.
Right?
I'm like, what is it? What do I know about directing?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just like I'm blessed to be in that situation where I'm able to do it. But it's hard. It's like that's not my life every day. I mean,
Yeah.
there's days where I'm doing nothing, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the next project?
Right.
You know?
So, but you mentioned you have like a lot of ideas, a lot of things that you want to be doing. What can you share about what's next or what
Yeah.
you want to do or are working on?
So I want to do a. Well, I'm starting. How do I say it? Can I say it? Are we allowed to say
I don't know. You tell me what you're allowed to say.
Something I wanted to do for a very long time is do a rom-com,
Oh, yes.
like a
Like be in it.
yeah, we'll be in it
Or direct
collaborate
it.
on
Okay.
collaborate on like the story, you know.
Yes.
And there may or may not be that in the future with some
oh
people.
my gosh. Yes.
Um,
yes.
So that's fun. And I also like Peter and I both have like gone through, and then James and I with Meet Me Where I Am, like we went through like the film festivals and stuff, and that's a whole other world that I learned about, which is really cool too.
I bet.
You know?
And you won awards. I mean,
Yeah.
amazing.
Meet Me Where I Am won the Audience Award for Best Documentary,
Audience award at Dances with Films.
which premiered at the Chinese Theater in
That's
Hollywood.
amazing.
Yeah.
Was that was a pinch me moment.
That was surreal.
Yeah.
I was like, it's here.
Wow.
So that was cool, and
Amazing.
winning the award was cool too, because it was like oh, the people have spoken.
It resonates with so many people, which is
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, so rom-com. I love this for you.
Yeah. I'm excited. So that's on the short list. I do want to do another documentary. There's like two, your cousin Peter is in like the documentary space, and he's done like the music documentaries with like Chicago and stuff. I'd like to get into, doing one like maybe about like one musical artist.
Love it.
I would like to do sort of a like follow up to Meet Me Where I Am.
I think there's so much more you could share.
Yeah.
Well,
And that was that was the struggle with that too. Is like, how do you fit this?
I like how you segmented it, though. I mean, you did a great job of kind of storytelling and keeping it on track, but still giving a wide range of sort of perspective of each.
Yeah, thank you. That was I owe a lot to James, who collaborated with me on that like greatly, especially in the editing phase, because you're just like, okay, there's a story after story after story, but like, how do we get them all to?
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Connect.
Yeah.
Well, we picked out like what subjects I think like we wanted to touch on, and then kind of just went from there. We had like little buckets where we're like, okay, they talk about this here, they talk about that there, and then we kind of went from there. Yeah, it was important for me to have like certain things in there, like we mentioned earlier, like what to say and what not to say to people.
Right.
John Farley always says in that, he says
He was great.
He says like, I was just with him the other night, and he's like, he feels a certain way about being in that film because he's like, I don't know anything about grief, and I was like, but you do. Like that's
You're living it.
But that's your perspective of it. Like, and that's what I wanted is I wanted someone like yourself to have to share your experience with it, because it's not going to match up with somebody else's.
No.
No. He said, the joke was that like the one that always would get me was when people would just say my condolences. And he's like,
No.
He's like, what is a condolence? You're not saying anything.
That's honestly, I kind of equate it to my apologies.
Right.
How about just say I'm sorry?
Just like,
I'm
my
sorry?
apologies. Yeah, exactly.
Because like, why you gotta say my apologies?
Because what are you really saying there? You're trying to say like,
yes,
I'm sorry you have to go through this experience.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry that this is happening to you.
Yes.
That's what you're trying to say.
Right.
So just say that.
Just say that.
What do you think some of the better things were that people said to you after your loss?
I think a lot of what you said in the film was spot on in that they were just there.
Yeah.
Like, I think the things I remember, it was such a blur.
Yeah.
But and it was traumatic, and I know that's a part of all of that. But I think that what I remember as a positive thing is that they showed up and they were there. Yeah. They shared a lot of memories, which I really appreciated and I loved, because that felt like he was still there. What I remember, like, not so great was people just not acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Or just like, just that. Like, some of our closest friends, closest to him.
Yeah.
Just never talked about it. Ever. And still don't. And I'm like, I know deep down you're hurting. I know.
It's there.
It's there.
Yeah.
But, that's a very personal thing. What did they say? They just reminded me of really positive memories of him. They said that they were there for us. I think, again, just the acknowledgement of it was everything for me. And I think my family would agree.
Yeah.
I think my family would agree. I don't think there were weird comments made about the incident that happened, and it's just like, I know you're trying to make me feel better about it, but like,
I know
it doesn't bring him back. So like, that felt not productive to me.
Right.
But overall, honestly, I don't remember people saying anything that was like wrong or hurtful, because I feel like it was more hurtful by not saying anything.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And even if they say something that's like a little off, or you're like, that didn't sit right. Like, most people, like, their intentions are like
totally
good.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And I know I can tell it was hard for them to even say that.
It is
so
hard.
Like,
it's hard. We don't know what to say.
Yeah. Even Michael feels that way. I mean, poor guy.
Yeah.
He's married to somebody who lost her brother on Valentine's Day. And I remember when
Yeah.
we were first dating, it was like, Valentine's Day is a thing. You like go out to a romantic dinner and you romance your partner. And
you're
he's like, I have no idea what to do.
Yeah,
Like,
and-
I don't know what you want to do.
Right.
I don't know what we should do. Like, there was like treading, like, lightly there for a couple years. And I just told him, I was like, and for a long time, Grant, our family would get together every year on Valentine's Day. Literally for 10 years, we did that.
Sure.
Alicia and Tara live in Modesto. My parents and I are obviously here, but we would all get together somehow. And now we all have 3 kids and it's just a lot and it falls on a weekday or whatever. We try our best still. But so then there was that.
Yeah.
Then there was like, I didn't think I'd be with my whole family and my in-law. It's just a very like bittersweet dynamic of a day. And now as the years go on, we're really leaning into like the love of the day. And
It's like,
leaning
yeah, I
into
was
like
gonna ask,
love day,
How was
know?
yeah, how was this year?
This year was, I don't want to say it's getting easier, but like, what was it? I think it was a Friday this year. It was a weekday because I remember I was in the kids' class, the girls' classes for their Valentine's parties. And then Michael and I went to the cemetery and then we went to day date after. And then we had a fundraiser that night. And I probably would have never committed to a fundraiser 5 years ago. I would have been like, no, I just want to stay home and cry,
Right.
But I had a great time with my friends and they all said something.
That's great.
Like,
As they should.
thinking of you, friend, are you sure you want to do this today? Like, just checking in, hugs. And I had a moment where I cried and then I was good. It was like, okay.
And that's a part of it too, where it's like you could agree to do the fundraiser, and then by the time the fundraiser comes around, you're like, actually, maybe I don't want to do
100%.
this today.
Yeah.
And that's normal too.
Totally.
Or a year will come by and you're like, oh yeah, that was today. Like that.
Yes.
Should I have been doing this? So there's a lot of,
Yeah.
it can be complicated.
I think for us, it's because it's on Valentine's Day that, there's never forgetting that one. It's just very,
That is tough.
yeah,
I mean, it's going to be tough regardless.
totally,
And you're
100%.
going to feel different things anyway. But yeah, falling on like a day like that.
Where you're trying to romance your partner and it's like, oh, this feels just different. And we,
Yeah.
and we try to get together with my parents and just try to be together, But I think as the years go on, we're trying to show that love with our kids and just, like they've come out to the cemetery with us. And
I love that you mentioned that about the kids because I had, because they didn't know him, right?
no, and my girls have a brother and I'm like, and he's MJ and Jay was JW and it's a whole thing. And Alicia has 2 boys, Tara has 3 girls, and Alicia also has a daughter. But anyway, there's a good mix of boys and girls in the fam, cousins wise. And gosh, I see so much of Jay and my nephews. It's wild. They look so much like him. It's crazy. And I tell my girls all the time, you're so lucky to have a brother. Like I had a brother and it was the best,
Yeah.
and I want them to like they don't, kids, they like don't see, oh wait, you have a brother too, but he's not here, or you have 2 sisters, you don't have a brother. I'm like, no, I have a brother.
Yeah.
He's just in heaven, So they really understand that, I think.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, saying like what you're like telling them, like, see, how you have a brother? Like I have a brother too. And, just stressing like how important the relationship
Totally.
is.
Yeah.
It reminded me, I was getting back to John Farley for a minute.
Yeah.
We, he talks about, he's like, my kids never met, my brother, and his wife never met his brother, and they will share stories about him the same way. They'll watch old videos. Like we were all like at their house one time and they were like watching like old videos, and it was so cool to see the kids see that their uncle was part of this family.
Oh, so cool.
And
so cool.
I think like what you do is like a great way to like honor his memory like that.
I think that's what some of the time it makes us the most sad is he would be such a fun uncle. Oh my God, he'd be the most fun uncle. He'd be the best dad. And I think about those things and that makes me
He totally
sad.
had uncle vibes. Huh?
Funkle vibes, like fun uncle vibes.
Yeah.
Jay would be the one, taking him out on the bikes or the
Yeah.
golf carts or doing something, getting into trouble.
Didn't he have he had a motor
He
scooter
had,
too?
a GoPed.
A GoPed, yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. Anything that had a motor.
That thing was so fast.
He supercharged it.
Of course he did.
Yes.
Everything was
So fast.
everything was
so
supercharged.
supercharged. Yes. And I think about that. I think about what a fun uncle, so those are the things that it's just a bummer. But I will say, and some of this was touched on in your film too, I do think that there are glimpses of him that have gifted me such amazing things in my life. I at least that's maybe how I try to also cope with the grief.
Mm-hmm.
I think about, I would have never moved home. I would still be in LA, I'm pretty sure. I would have never met Michael, who went to high school with him, played golf with him, knew him, which to me, dating post him post losing Jay was really hard.
Nobody talks about that.
Oh my gosh.
Dating post grief.
Yes.
Dating is,
and talk about, crying on a whim. I'd be on a first date and they'd be like, so what's your family dynamic? I'm like, well, I'm a triplet, a girl and a boy. Oh, okay. Where do they live? And then it's all of that unfolds, right? So it was he was familiar. He was Michael was home for me. It was even though I never met him, he had met everybody in my family, including Jay. I never met him.
That's interesting.
And as we've obviously been together now for so long, we've realized all of our mutual connections and friends and how he and I never met.
That's so wild.
And then we met at Jeff Pardini's wedding and we danced the whole night.
Nice.
And went on our first date a week later, and the rest is history. But I think about that. I think about I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met Michael. I wouldn't have my beautiful family. I wouldn't be building my bit,
Yeah.
And life would be so different.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, it's a real bummer he's not here. But I also am grateful for it sounds weird saying that out loud, but just grateful for the gifts that he's brought. Not just me, but my sisters and our family.
I know exactly what you're saying. We can be grateful for the new experiences, the new people that have come into our lives, and also at the same time hold space for the grief. Gratitude for the new experience doesn't cancel out.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
And I've learned that grief does open us up to new people and new experience, people that we didn't know existed.
So true.
That come into our lives post a major grief.
Well, look at all the people you've met through your film, like you said. You're all just
some of who are my close friends now,
Yes.
It's amazing.
I think naturally opening yourself up to vulnerability and sharing your truth creates a connection with someone, right?
Yeah.
So that's really powerful. This has been so fun, Grant. I feel like I could talk to you all day.
Is that it? We're done?
I don't know. I mean, I want to know. Tell me what's next.
What's next?
Yeah.
I mean, I could talk. Yeah, I could keep.
Okay,
the
so
conversation going.
Meet Me Where I Am podcast. Where can people listen?
The Where I Am pod. So Meet Me Where I Am is the film. I know it gets confusing.
You're right. The Where I Am podcast. I have that in my notes. I just wasn't looking. The Where I Am podcast. Where can people find that?
Yeah. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music.
All of it.
But watch the film.
I agree. Watch the film on Apple TV or Amazon Prime, right? And
Tubi, which is arguably one of the best. I'm not joking when I say this. It sounds like a plug for them.
Yeah.
They only give me 10% to say this. So it's it's one of the most user-friendly streaming platforms there are.
Oh my gosh.
And you can just
Tubi. I actually feel like I've heard a lot more about that recently.
Tubi's amazing.
Tubi is the future.
They have great films on there, but watch it on Amazon. Watch it on
all the things.
It's free on Amazon Prime or Tubi.
Okay.
So you can also buy a DVD, a digital video disc, on Amazon if you want to.
Looking at the camera, it's you guys know what a DVD is? Because most people that we talk to probably don't.
It's I almost brought you one today, but I was like, what is she gonna do with that?
What's it? I've seen it.
What are you gonna do? And you've seen it.
That's like keeping the burned CDs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or DVDs.
yeah.
I still have them. So when you come to visit Fresno, what are your must stop places?
That's a good. Yeah, we didn't really talk about Fresno.
I know.
Born and raised.
Still visit, so I
born
feel
and
grateful
raised.
for that.
Yeah, here all the time.
Parents are here, right?
Yeah, dried fruit packing.
Love it.
I love when my sister comes to visit because
guys are so
she has a nephew. Or
You have
she
a
has. I have a nephew now, and a niece who I have not met yet because she was just born just like a couple weeks ago.
Say really recently,
Yeah.
huh? I feel like Candace told me that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
sweet.
I love when like the whole family is here, and we
Mm-hmm.
just like kind of just love staying in the house and like ordering pizza or.
Okay, where do you order from?
But that's a big like point of contention in our
Yeah.
household because my parents insist.
Which one?
They insist on me and Ed's.
Yeah. Michael, yeah.
And I'm like,
So where would you insist on?
well, I used to really like Da Vinci's, but it's not there anymore.
I know. I actually weirdly
That was like
noticed
pretty
that
close
recently.
to your
Yes.
old house. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't even know what's there now. Is there a pizza place
I
there?
literally saw the sign and it was
I loved how like fluffy, like how they had like chubby
Cheese
pizza.
was so good.
Yeah. There's just something
Yeah, wow,
about
bring
and
me
I
back.
like me and Ed's. I like me and Ed's. I just don't like.
Well, it's a I don't want to say acquired taste because
It is, though.
but it's different. Yeah.
It is different.
Yeah.
Like I just.
Okay, so no more Da Vinci's.
I know.
So where do you
Yeah, where do you do
Have you
it?
been to an Esso yet?
No.
Oh, I feel like you'd really love
What's
it.
the other-
It's different though. It's true Italian pizza.
What? See, I like that.
You would
If it's
love an
like-
Esso. You got to go to an Esso.
Okay.
It's a good vibe.
do it.
Great drinks, great food.
We'll do it. We'll
Yeah.
make it happen.
Great salads, all of it.
Pizza's a whole other conversation entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Like
But now I know what team you're on. Okay. Michael's on the same team as you. I am
just like-
team me and Ed's.
I just don't like sandpaper like scratching the inside of my tongue. Like what is it? Like cornmeal? What is the
It's
bottom?
cornmeal.
Yeah. That's rough. That can be rough.
How about you just make some? Our latest thing is because
love
I
it.
don't have celiac disease.
Right.
The girls do. Jay did. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
But I've been gluten free since July.
Oh, nice.
I just feel better
Yeah.
and it feels good. Anyway, Trader Joe's has really great pizza dough.
They do. I've had
Regular
that.
and
Yeah.
gluten-free. It's
Yeah.
bomb.
If you can find a good like
Yeah.
dough that works for you.
Yeah, or you can make it, but I don't.
But
have
are
time
you
for
someone that like needs a bunch of toppings?
that. Sometimes I make two pizzas, two
Okay.
small ones, one cheese / margarita situation,
Yeah.
and one with all the toppings.
Because like I'm just like fine with just like a cheese or pepperoni.
Same.
Like I don't need like
Yeah,
like a veggie pizza. Like I don't
yeah, it's
need
a little heavy. Well,
a
it's
bunch
just
of.
soggy.
But I do like making like like maybe like a supreme every once in a while or
Ooh,
like
yeah.
a meat lovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta make sure it's not like too soggy.
You gotta try an Esso. You'll like
You
it.
have to do it. Yeah.
So you're here for the weekend?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fun.
Came.
Okay, so must stops are obviously the parents' house. Obs.
Yep.
Any other spots?
I do like getting a Dutch Bros because that's
Love
this,
it.
we don't have a Dutch Bros in. No, there's one in like I don't know. There's one in
They're
Portland.
not as frequent. Yeah, I was gonna say they're not as frequent around you.
So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
see them ever.
I love it.
Oh, there's one in like San Diego that I saw recently, and I went and I got a Dutch freeze in the afternoon, so that was fun.
Love it.
So
Love it.
where else? My dad and I went to dinner last night at Sakanaya,
Oh gosh, such a good spot.
which is under
Did you
New.
do teppanyaki?
We did not do teppanyaki.
Oh, you did like
I,
the
I
sushi?
like their sushi.
Yeah, me too, actually.
I also really like teppanyaki anyway.
Yes.
But it's weird when it's just like you and your dad, and they're like, "Hey," you're like, okay, throwing the shrimp.
Oh my god. Had an empty table. With
So
just
weird
you
though.
two.
Like I've weirdly been to teppanyaki like multiple times in the last year, and like every time I've gone, it has been like a dad with their like kid. Like sitting, you know how it's like always like 8 people, and on the other end of it, it's like the dad. It's like I can't figure out the dynamic. It's like, did Daddy get the kid this tonight? Does Daddy have the kid for?
And this is entertainment. Maybe. Hey, maybe.
So yeah, I
Funny.
love
Okay,
sushi.
so okay,
Yeah.
great.
There used to be a sushi place that closed, which
Marks
we
and Herndon, Bullard and
would Bullard and
West.
West.
Yeah, that place was
What was
good.
it?
Oka or something. Oka, I think.
Oka.
The one by like in the Same Art Center.
Yeah, there
it
was
was
that.
bomb.
There was that. There was also one across the
I
street.
think it was called Oka.
It was. I think you're right.
It was
I
good.
love a good like deli delicious sandwich
Oh yeah,
when we come.
Love deli
Haven't
deli.
had that in a while.
Good staples. So food, lots of food options for
It's
you.
kind of like what we do when we come
I
back.
know, isn't that funny?
'Cause we
Well, I had some friends visit recently from LA, and I'm thinking about all the things I want to do, and it's literally all around restaurants.
Yeah.
Like
Here?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Totally.
I'm really trying hard to recruit them to move here. I don't think that's going to happen, but
That's wild.
a girl can
Move.
dream.
Yeah.
Well, they're in a position where they've been affected by the fires. They're wanting to own a home. They are
Yeah.
wanting to raise build a
Part-
family.
Part of it.
Well, they didn't specifically, like, their home did not burn down in the fires, but a lot of relocation things have been happening.
Oh, yeah,
and it just really makes them question even wanting to live there long term.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
I left like the first night of
Did
the
you?
fires. Yeah. I knew it probably wasn't going to get to like where I was, but like trees were being unrooted like in the streets. The wind was insane. Like when we got back, there was ash everywhere. Like my front door was like covered in ash. The front like patio was covered in ash. It was just awful. And like I've never like seen so much like devastation.
It is heartbreaking.
I lost count of like how many people I know
no, I
that have
know.
lost. Like one of the coffee shops I go to, like
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 people that work there lost their homes.
Mm.
You know, but what was amazing about that coffee shop is it's such a community of people
Mm-hmm.
that they all came together. They were all supporting. You know,
I will say I've seen a lot of that. A lot of community coming together. A lot of fundraising.
what
all
is
of
that?
that.
What is that quote? It's Mr. Rogers would say, "Look for the helpers." That's whenever there's something, whether it be like a major grief experience, like look for the helpers and like model yourself after that.
Have you ever done the Enneagram thing?
I'm not familiar.
I haven't either. It's like a personality test. It's like,
Yeah.
remember Myers-Briggs? Like the whole, here's your personality type and here are the careers that would be good for you.
Well, I am a Pisces, and
Okay.
and so fish are my friend. And this was interesting to me. I found out that Pisces oftentimes
Yeah.
do not have a 9 to 5 job, and oftentimes do lean more into like the arts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I asked that because you said helpers, and that's one of the Enneagram numbers. I can't remember which one. My friend was telling me about it recently, and I kind of want to do it with my team. But she was like, "Oh, Ray, you're an 8." And I'm like, "Sure. No clue." I got to look this
You're like,
up.
out
I
of
don't know.
what?
I don't know what that
You're an 8?
means.
Is that what she said?
An 8, an Enneagram 8.
Like out of what?
Well, yeah, exactly. Or like, I don't know what that. She's like, I feel your energy. You're an 8. And I'm like, okay, I actually still haven't looked it up. I need to look this
I
up.
need to look. I
And
love
apparently I'm an Enneagram 8, and she was, I think, an Enneagram 2, which is more like exactly what you're saying, like the helper,
Yeah.
the helper. I don't know how else to say it. Like
Yeah.
The supporter, I don't know.
Yeah,
Helps
just
with
don't help me move. Like I don't like if you're moving, like I don't need to do that. I don't need to like lift heavy boxes anymore, and like I'm not gonna help in that way. But
Just to be clear.
if we're gonna have like a deep like conversation, like I'll be there for that. Maybe I'll help you move. I don't know. It depends. Like, do we have to get a couch on the second floor?
Gosh.
Because
Yeah,
the
you got to
amount-
assess
amount
the
of,
situation.
The amount of friends that I had like have helped move in LA, where we were like pushing a couch like through the second store balcony.
No.
What is
No.
that? Like, what is happening? Where? Why? And they're like, I'll buy you in and out after.
Yeah.
Like,
that's literally what it was.
I just like tore my rotator cuff. What do you mean you'll buy me in and out after? I threw my back out.
It's a fair trade, right?
I'm
You'll get over it.
incapacitated. Oh, isn't that fun?
Well, Grant, this was great. I have to pick up my children at some
Yeah,
point.
I know. I'm sorry. Let's just go. We're like halfway done. I promise. Like we'll go. We'll just do another. We'll do another 90 minutes.
Run it back, as they say. How long are your I've listened to your podcast.
Yeah,
but do you feel out of time? Like some people are like,
Yeah.
I feel like you're just flow.
An hour or less usually.
Yeah.
Like I try.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first I was like,
Well, yeah, I guess you're editing. I don't know.
30 minutes is a nice time. It depends. Like I don't know.
Really?
I don't know like who's listening all the time.
Yeah.
And I've seen like which ones like get more downloads, and some of them are like the more longer form ones.
Same.
So, yeah.
My 2 longest episodes are my most listened to.
Well, I think it allows. It's like, you know when like a TV show is canceled like after 2 seasons, like no one let it simmer, so you didn't really even know if you liked it or not.
Truth.
But if you're with us for a longer period of time, if you allow us that space to go deeper and touch on those more nuanced topics, then maybe you'll stay with us, and you'll want to stay with us.
Right.
You want to see where it goes. But I've had some of the most meaningful conversations with people. I love it, and I don't think there's a single one that I've been like, all right, it's time to
wrap it up. Yeah.
Except
well,
this
yeah.
one. I don't know. This is...
Well, it's mine, so you can't say that.
Wait, this is your.
I know.
I thought I came here to do my podcast.
We could collab.
We should.
You want to?
We should do a. Yeah, we should do a collab.
A collab.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Coffee.
Yeah, what are we gonna call it? Hang on. We're gonna call it. Okay, how are we getting the Where I Am and Coffee Monday? Something with coffee.
Meet us for coffee on Monday with Ray and Grant. Perfect.
Boom. Mic drop.
We should think about. We'll need to find like some sort of alliteration there, because that's where it like really.
Like Brangelina. What are we gonna be?
That's where it really
I'm bringing it back. That was the first one I can think of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Spidey really is breaking the internet these days. Wow.
Yeah, that's something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, we'll have to do something in the future.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'll make my way down south at some point.
Yeah. And we can do it.
Love it.
That would be fun.
Thanks, Grant.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Feel free to rate and review this episode here and connect with us on Instagram if you have any thoughts, questions, or any guest suggestions. Thanks.